Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
Here we go.
I'm checking out. I will respond to you, but I'm done for the week. I'm done.
Steve is my favorite part of the show. How's that?
I like that. Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Check for sound.
Pleasure to be on there talking with Paulie, man. He's a good dude.
I'm an idiot. I'll just shut up and let you talk. I was trying to help.
And shout out to Tupac.
3, 2, 1, and
This is Orange Nation.
Well, hello, Paulie and Steve.
With Stephen Fonte and Paulie Scibilia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to have you with us. Along with Paulie Scibilia, we welcome you to a Steve's Not Here edition of Orange Nation. Just one guest lined up today. We want to hear from you. Call us at 437-7644 or 4ESPN 44. Adrien Autry, the head coach of the Orange, will be with us today at 1 o'clock. We'll take your phone calls throughout. Hello, Paulie. How'd you sleep? Or does that go the other way?
That goes the other way. I asked you how you slept.
Paulie, how you doing?
If I closed my eyes, it was almost as if Steve was here.
Almost. We
Matt
missed
Park
Steve today.
joined
Happy
us.
birthday to Steve.
Yeah, the big 5-0.
About that. Good for him.
Didn't even invite me. Hang out with him.
You, Steve, and Kim, that's how that would have gone down?
I invited him to my 50th.
Uh-huh. Very good. How'd you sleep?
I slept great. You?
Just okay. I didn't know I'd be in here with you, so I was tossing and turning a little bit.
What do you want to talk about, man? You want to talk about,
You tell me, babe.
Well, we've got this tweet that went out yesterday from a fan of Syracuse basketball, and this fan is adamant that Syracuse not stay in house, and there's some weird obsession with Syracuse staying, in house. And I wanted to get your take as he ran down all of the C schools as whether or not their hire was in house or not.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things going on right now. This is a super interesting time and a pivotal time in our community and at the university. How this goes here, the hiring of the chancellor, the hiring of the athletic director, the determination of what is happening with basketball is really, really important. That we all know that. That's why we fill 2 hours a day on talk radio with it. I think we can get into today some of those types of things. What do you want to see in an athletic director? What is asked of the athletic director? And we haven't talked, because a lot of it's talked about who the coach should be and all that. What's the role of the athletic director, and what parameters or characteristics are going to be sought in the right one? What are they tasked with? I got news for you. Whoever the basketball coach is next season, the athletic director is probably going to be here longer than them. That's not a given, but that's generally the way it works out. And that person oversees more sports and has more things going on. So I think that's also an interesting discussion that we probably haven't had. I find there was kind of a flurry of social media chatter and things yesterday, and this. I understand, I listen a little bit here and there over the course of the week. There's obviously this boils down to there's a sort of representation of, if Mike Hopkins or whatever represents the quote in-house or family candidate, then there's the out-of-family candidates, and the names are thrown around there. My position on it is this: if we're all working on the assumption, with all due respect to Red, we're going to have him on later today. We're working on the assumption that they will be seeking a new basketball coach for next year when we have this conversation, okay? You cast a wide net. I wouldn't be absolutely in either camp. I think you can have an aim high candidate or two or three. It takes 5 minutes to talk to their representation to find out whether they want to be considered or not. Then you can look at, you have to, there aren't a lot of absolutes, I would say here. You absolutely have to take Jerry McNamara and Mike Hopkins into account. It doesn't mean you have to hire them. It means you cannot blow them off. You cannot just completely dismiss them out of hand because they are part of the family. Syracuse, not every school even has what you would call a family or a brotherhood that's been built up over this long period of time. So a lot of schools aren't even eligible in that category. The ones who do have it, some of the ones who are kind of in the middle are seeking it or playing it up. The ones who do have it at least want to consider who are those candidates from within the family. And for all intents and purposes here, you're talking about Mike Hopkins and Jerry McNamara only. Again, Jason Hart is a former player that's at a high level in coaching. Probably not somebody that would be considered. But for those other two, I don't think you want them feeling like they got blown off by their alma mater and weren't even considered at all. I think you can talk to Hop. Maybe it's over in 30 seconds. Hey, is this something that appeals to you? Yes or no? Do you want to go forward with it? If yes, you go down that path. If no, Mike Hopkins might say, you know what? It's been a minute since I've been there. I've seen some other things. I like the role I have in the NBA, and I think someday I'm going to be an NBA head coach. Thanks for considering me. I wish you well. Boom. Now you've still got Mike Hopkins in the fold for whatever that's worth. You've checked the box in terms of being in contact with him. There's no obligation to hire somebody in that category. Same with Jerry McNamara. Hey, Jerry, good job so far. Are you ripe? Is this something that you feel like is the right thing? I understand the arguments for and against these individuals. You kind of, Paulie, have brought up the way you phrased it is you don't want to see happen to Jerry what happened to Red. And that is one of your people having it not really work out that great. And if you did that sort of back-to-back, I understand the argument against that. I also understand that Jerry's his own guy and or Hop, whoever, could come in and be very successful. I think you talk to the person and you say, hey, let's take your temperature on this. Do you know what you'd be getting into if you came here? Do you feel like you're ready for it? And you can kind of go down that road. Jerry may say, you know what, I really want to build something here at Siena before I move on. Or he may say, hey, there's other openings that appeal to me a little bit differently for right now, this time in my life with my family and what have you. So to me, it's a non-starter to be in the camp that even considering them or talking to them is ridiculous. I don't get that at all. And I'm happy to have, if you want to explain that to me, you can call 437-7644. You want to tell me, hey, I've studied Mike Hopkins' tenure in Washington and he stunk as a head coach. There's evidence for that. We can listen to that. If you want to say, hey, Jerry McNamara's not ready yet, then we can kind of get into talking about that. If you say, hey, I want a complete flush of the system and all that, I think that those are all valid opinions. I just don't get the extremes to one direction. If particularly the Mike Hopkins hate, I don't get it all. If you take the time in social media or talk radio to call up and say that you're going to boycott the program or not pay attention anymore if they hire Mike Hopkins, I just can't align with that at all.
Yeah, I don't get it either. And like I've said a million times, there isn't a guy who's more prepared for this job. Has it changed since he left? Yes, but he lived it. He practiced for it. He was getting ready for this job. So he's a
dynamic, enthusiastic, win over the room type person. Now that being said, we haven't been around Hop in a minute. Okay, he went to maybe some of that enthusiasm has dipped. I think you want to find that out, and you're only going to find that out by engaging with him and talking with him. But the very idea that starting inward or starting in a small circle and looking out when it comes to hiring for any of these positions, that's uniquely a Syracuse thought is preposterous. It's not. All of these openings and whatever writer you like or whoever, they all do that. Every time there's an opening and, okay, we're going to throw out the handful of candidates, it's always, a combination of who has some sort of ties and then maybe who's the next hot shot that would apply, fit in any situation. The reason for that is institutional knowledge is important. Knowing the people, knowing the culture, knowing, sort of the background, and that matters. It's not the be-all, end-all. It certainly can be learned if the next coach here, whenever that person comes in and whoever that person is, if they're completely new to the program, they're going to be working to establish that. They're going to be going back to find those relations, which can happen, right? So Fran Brown's a great example there. Fran Brown had no real connection to Syracuse other than growing up in the Northeast, having reverence for the program the way it was run in the 80s and in particular the 90s with Coach Pasqualoni. He very quickly can work on some of that institutional knowledge with the help of a lot of other people sort of making that happen. And so that's how it works in my opinion. So, we can certainly get into it here, but my summation is, completely swinging 100% yay or nay in either direction at this stage is crazy to me.
Right. And they may not be the best picks day one, Hop and Jerry, but you also don't know who else is going to have job openings, who's going to be offering more money, and they may fall from wherever they are now or rise up to the number one spot eventually.
Yeah, I think there's categories. I think if you're in the market, and this applies to athletic director too, and again, when people start to speculate, well, who might they talk about for athletic director? Again, you put the compass in around Syracuse, and you start drawing the circle out a little bit. Who has connections and for what reason? So a lot of the names that have been thrown out there have some sort of connection. Not everybody. That's why you have search firms and whatever. They're out looking for the people that slip through the cracks and promoting candidates that on merit deserve consideration to move up or might be a fit. And there's another category that is low percentage but isn't really talked about. There might be somebody out there for any of these positions, AD, heck, chancellor, AD, and coach, that might be somewhat successful at the place they're at, but feels like this doesn't, it's stale, or I don't like the way they're treating me here, or it doesn't work for this reason or that reason. And they're looking for a fresh start. And maybe with that, you might even get somebody a little bit better than you originally considered, because you thought they were, until you did your homework, you thought they were fine in the job they had. So that's why there's these committees. That's why there's people that are working on it. And at this stage, I think you put your trust in the process that they identify somebody that fits.
Let's go to John in Liverpool. John, what's up?
Yeah, guys. Who gets selected first? Will it be the chancellor?
Yes.
That gets the chancellor first?
Yes, top down.
And then he makes the decision as
he or
far
she,
as the athletic director.
Yeah, I mean, these are all overlap. As I understand it, they're overlapping processes, and this is not with any internal knowledge. There was just a university senate meeting yesterday, and the chancellor said they'll be ready to. He's not involved in the process of selecting his successor, but they're ready to announce the new chancellor next month. Well, Sunday's March 1st. I wouldn't be stunned if it's as early as the first part of next week they publicize their selection for the next chancellor. Then he or she is already, I'm sure, involved in the discussions around the athletic director aspect of it. Then that'll get cranked up and settled, and then on to deciding what they're going to do with basketball.
Okay, so chancellor does have quite a bit of say in this whole matter.
Yeah, they're the boss. That's a really important job. A very difficult job that has their hands involved in a lot of different things. If you're the chancellor at a university of this scale, not only is it all the academic pursuit, it's the financial health of the university, it's all these decisions that are made relative to real estate and all those different things. That's a very difficult job. It's why they get paid a lot of money and are held in the esteem they're in, and why they don't move around very often, and why they're very selective when they find somebody. So, yeah, you start with the chancellor. That was also the first one to be an opening, right? So they've been working on that for months. You get that settled and announced, then that person contributes to the next discussion and then the next discussion.
Thanks, guys.
You bet. Thanks, John.
Here you go, Matt. Good show.
Is that it?
Good job for the
right, thanks for being with us, everybody. We'll see you. No drive time today with Tim Leonard. We've got Adrien Autry show tonight at Wildcat Sports Pub. And Donnie Freeman, I think, will be coming out. He's coming to all the February shows.
By the way, the funny thing is Matt, we did the show together for a year. And back then it was like, why aren't we competing with North Carolina and Duke? And the two greens on this are two of the four greens that are schools that stay in house all the time are Duke and
Well,
and Duke
we can do a whole
Carolina.
segment on this list. So it was Jeff, right? Jeff Cuse on X Twitter, kind of put out, he did his graphic here. I'll go down every school if you want to do it, and let's talk about who the coach is, how they got there, and if you want to do a segment on that, happy to do it.
All right. We'll take a time out.
Okay.
We'll come back. We'll hear a song from my Spotify list.
Awesome. Excited for that.
Catch the Syracuse basketball pregame prior to every game. Built.
No, Shelb. We got millions. People are always asking why we don't compete with Duke in North Carolina. All the time. All the time. Don't come at me. Because why aren't we beating Duke? I know why we don't beat Duke.
What's this on Switch?
Yeah. It's just like yesterday, you guys. Never mind. I don't even want to get into the whole. They make a brand new play in a timeout. They have sets. They run plays that they've practiced at least once or twice. They're ahead of BC in the. They're ahead of BC in the standings. They lost. They should not lose to BC and Hofstra. That is correct. We used to be measured with Duke. No, we never were measured with.
Just go back and look at it. Count the times where Syracuse is ranked higher than Duke going into the game. It's not very many times.
If Autry and Shire switched rosters, what would their record be? That's a good question. I think Shire probably would have beaten Hofstra, BC, maybe Clemson at home, maybe Miami. Bubble team. We've been top 4 in the conference once. And then they had sanctions, lost recruits, and then NIL kicked in. Yeah, they were a top 25 team, and it's on Boeheim that they weren't because they got the sanctions. And Daryl Gross and everybody that was involved in that mess. I don't care what you do, Dilemma-Cush. You can call if you want. Yes, everybody's trying to get where Duke is. Every school in the ACC wants to be where Duke is. They're trying to get there. It just doesn't happen.
There hasn't been one game ever where Syracuse was ranked and Duke wasn't. There's been a couple where they've been right in the same category, a little higher. But not in modern, only 2 first year of the ACC. I'll go down this whole list if you want. We'll just...
So it's Boeheim's fault that Autry isn't winning right now.
That's the part I don't really get. I think the perception that Boeheim's still coaching the team.
No, it's just like
he tainted them.
That his daddy ball. Just playing songs off my Spotify playlist. Freedom by George Michael.
This is just random?
Yeah. I would like freedom from this basketball season. I need a couple weeks off.
Well, you're about to get that here, Paulie. So sitting out the road trip, or you're sitting out this road trip.
Yeah, and then I'll meet you in Louisville.
Okay. Excited for that.
Can't wait.
Okay. All right, so we can run down this list here. This is, what's cool, I guess, about social media talk radio culture now is everybody out there has got a stake in the show. If you want to call us, 437-7644, 4 ESPN 44. If you go off on a tweet storm, it's going to be noticed. And for better or for worse, some of you, the fact that anyone is spending time to create these memes or Photoshop coaches in different uniforms and stuff boggles my mind, but you do you, whatever your hobby may be. But give credit where it's due. I believe it was Jeff Cuse had a little tweet storm yesterday, a bunch of different takes that I think we can react to today. But in particular, just because he laid it out there, we can do this. We could go down the conference. How did the coach get there? What were the priorities that place? Who was the last coach? Who might be the next coach? That type of thing. Because I think what the discussion is, or what the suggestion is, the implication is that only Syracuse is so provincial that when there's an opening, they only look around Syracuse or prioritize that other places don't. And what I think you'll find in this list is others do that have it. Some don't have it. Some fudge it, or trying to find some sort of connection. There's always like a little bit of a connection, or they're aiming for one. And in some cases there aren't. Like if you're looking for, if the argument was to try to say, hey, you should just go hire the very best coach available that you can get, and look how many people did that other than, other schools did that other than Syracuse. There are a few that I think are in that category. It's just not as common as you think. And people want the connection. So that's why, like, when there's talk about Brian Hodgson, it's played up, right? Oh, he's from upstate New York. He coached at Buffalo, da-da-da. That's why I don't understand, if you value that you would dismiss Mike Hopkins out of hand, who has connection in spades. So let's just go through the list quickly. We got callers on hold. We can get to them. So Boston College, Earl Grant. It hasn't worked out for Earl Grant. He's in year 5. BC hasn't been very good. He may or may not be retained after this year. It was a little sticky last year. They stick with him another year. They got that win last night, which we can talk about. I think at BC, I don't think Earl Grant's necessarily a bad coach. I think it's a tough place to win. And that's in the category of, they could spin the wheel and hire somebody next. There's the talk of Joe Gallo from Merrimack and some different, again, regionally oriented type people. Maybe they could get somebody in there that could win. But BC, up to this point, has, and again, it could change, because what's happened with some of these schools is when they hire a new coach, they then paper that coach up. They give him a bigger payroll. They give him better facilities, et cetera. BC is always, in recent modern times, has been lagging in that category. They'll be lagging for the next coach unless they change it. So they may not move on from Earl Grant, because that's about who they are. If they do move on for the next person, they probably will up the payroll and whatever. They've just recently gotten a practice facility and what have you. So Earl Grant did not have a connection to BC coming in that I'm aware of. I have seen it when, last year when I was talking about him being on the hot seat. Well, the guys they'll consider are, who? Jared Dudley. Jared Dudley is an NBA assistant coach who played at Boston College. It's just not uncommon. I guess what I'm getting at is, we're going to go through a lot of these. It's not uncommon to look for someone who's got connections, because you want somebody that bleeds for the place and loves it and knows the people and is going to stay up all night because they really care about it, where they might not if they view it as just a job and they don't have that same allegiance.
Also another thing, BC, if they do stick with them, the average coach gets 5 years. I'm reading an article on ESPN. Average coach, Power 4, gets 5 years before being fired. There's been exceptions.
And a 5-year contract to start is typical.
Yeah. So
next up would be Brad Brownell. If I'm not mistaken, he took over for Oliver Purnell. They've hired that type of coach coming in. Brownell had been at UNC Wilmington and Wright State, so he was kind of the up-and-comer, had done well at a lower level. That's the person they went out and sought. Duke, no-brainer, kind of a coach-in-waiting situation with a former player and disciple of Mike Krzyzewski. And again, Duke, Syracuse has had this in time. Duke's got it now. North Carolina's got it now. UConn's got it, where even the assistants, UConn not right at the moment, but in previous administration, the assistants are all kind of connected in a way. They view that as a source of pride. Again, some people may not place a high value in that, but I think you can't completely dismiss it out of hand. North Carolina, same category, well, let's go alphabetically. So Duke, Florida State. Luke Laux, NBA assistant, played under the previous head coach, groomed and was mentored by that head coach, brought in with that connection. Georgia Tech, Damon Stoudemire. He's on the borderline for this year. My understanding, very little connection for him coming in. A little bit of an out-of-the-box thing that's happened here a couple times. He was an NBA assistant when they hired him. Had a little bit of head coaching experience at a small program leading up to that. May or may not work out. On Jeff's list, he's got Kenny Payne for Louisville with a red X. Kenny Payne is not the coach at Louisville, but he was. And Kenny Payne played at Louisville. So if you're going to put Kenny Payne's name down, he should be a green check mark as somebody who was from within the program. That was the reason he was clamored for and hired in the first place. Didn't work out. He's replaced by Pat Kelsey, who is in the category of they went and hired a coach from another school and they paid him up. So we're up to a couple of those, and I would say it's Clemson and Louisville. We're talking about higher end of the budget. Miami, one of two in this category, they're plugging into Duke. Yeah. They hired Jay Lucas. He's a Duke assistant. They're going to the very top of the league. How can we get some of that transplanted into our body and hope it works? They upped the NIL from the Jim Larinaga era, et cetera. Had they stayed in family, they would have hired Chris Caputo, who was Larinaga's assistant, had gone on to be the head coach at George Washington. They didn't do that. So they went out of family, but they went to the Duke family. NC State, Will Wade. Will Wade was a GA at Clemson. Will Wade is kind of a go-to-the-highest bidder type guy, and NC State was it. Again, a higher budget team. North Carolina, we touched on. They've been in the family since Dean Smith. Hubert Davis is probably going to stay beyond this year. If he doesn't, again, they'll start to look, who do we have that's family-oriented? Micah Shrewsbury is marked off as a not in the family. Well, other than maybe Chris Quinn, who's a coach at, played for Mike Bray, is a coach at Miami Heat, if I'm not mistaken, at last check. I don't know who there is really in the Notre Dame family. Micah Shrewsbury has spent his whole adult life, for the most part, in Indiana. Grew up in Indianapolis, previous head coaching job at IU South Bend, assistant at Purdue, brief head coaching position at Penn State. He comes back, he recruits the area, brings this kid, heavy connections to Indiana. It was basically his job all along. Jeff Capel, Pittsburgh, same thing. That's tapping into Duke. And we'll see what his future is. Andy Enfield, I would say this is in the category of SMU's got a lot of money. They had an opening. There's no SMU basketball history. There wasn't, we're going to go back and find somebody who's spent a great deal of time building up SMU and is beloved by the fan. There isn't that I'm aware of. So they go to USC, where he'd had a little bit of success. Coincidentally, that's a job that he kind of got at the last minute over Mike Hopkins. Enfield comes to SMU, where the selling point is, look, man, come from one big city where you kind of got it rolling to another big city where we got money, we got a lot to work on. And I've heard Andy Enfield say he's really optimistic about what they can build at SMU because they have the resources. Stanford, Kyle Smith, he's played his college ball in our neck of the woods here at Hamilton, coached at Columbia early in his career. He's been at, started off in academically elite institutions, which certainly would be valued by Stanford. He'd established himself on the West Coast, head coach at San Francisco, head coach at Washington State. Washington State's Pac-12 disintegrates, so he kind of moves to a former Pac-12 school. You can see where that made sense for them. Virginia, Ryan Odom, they absolutely sell the idea that he grew up, pulling on the shirt tails of his father, who was an assistant coach under Terry Holland at Virginia. They play that up. Ryan Oden would have even more of a connection because his father was the head coach at Wake Forest. If he went to Wake Forest, it's just he's out of their price range. So Virginia absolutely valued, again, he was a hot shot and been around. He'd been in the state, but they valued his local connection. So this isn't like just a crazy Syracuse-only concept. Virginia Tech, Mike Young is from Radford, Virginia, played at Emory and Henry, coached there for a long time, has deep roots in that area. This is the ACC team that he would be a fan of, if that makes any sense. Goes on and, as longtime successful coach at Wofford, comes over to Virginia Tech. He's not likely to go anywhere. And then Wake Forest, Steve Forbes, has the distinction of being on the hot seat, getting kind of a vote of confidence to stay, and then blowing a one-possession game at BC last night. Forbes, pretty good coach, junior college ranks to East Tennessee State, and then, made a run into the tournament, cashed it in while his iron was hot, and Wake Forest happened to have an opening at that time.
All right, let's go to Dilemma Cuse from our chat. Never heard his voice before.
Oh, boy. An exciting moment for you, Paulie.
Good afternoon, Matt and Paul. Thank you for taking my call.
You got it.
Not at all.
I called in on Monday. I said I was concerned with what I was hearing up on the Hill. If what I'm hearing is true, I'm at a level 5 concern. We have a donor-on-donor power struggle between Lally supporting Hodgson, Mello supporting Hopkins. I hate to say this of Mello because he walks on water to me, but somebody needs to explain to him this is not the time to relive the glory days from 20 years ago. We're almost 10 years removed from when Mike was a head coach in waiting. Now, I love Mike Hopkins. My mama loves Mike Hopkins, but he's got a lower winning percentage than our current coach, Adrien Autry. You have to upgrade at the coaching position. He had a 5-21 season. That is disqualifying. Now, you can say it was COVID. COVID doesn't affect whether you make shots and lose games. I don't care if it's COVID, World War III, or a zombie apocalypse. You can't, that's Kenny Payne level work right there, a 5-21 season. So I'm for Orange Nation to continue to jam the phone lines, right to those in power. And in the words of crazy Congresswoman Maxine Waters, if you see them at a gas station, confront and harass them. Now, war damn Otto, Elvis has left the damn building.
I don't think there is a...
Yeah, and let's stop with the confronting and I love we're going to storm or take the Mello Center by force. Get out of here. Okay, with that. Now, look, I think there's reasonable people in on the discussion. I'm trusting that those reasonable people are going to talk to everyone who makes sense and come to a consensus about the right choice. I don't see this as a power struggle between John Lally and Mello or what have you. I think you have both have their say. You talk to both of those individuals and several more, and you see what you can get done. You can see where's the alignment on the budget that you're willing. There's so many layers to this that I don't think you can presume that every person out there is necessarily the right fit or is thinking the same way you're thinking. And we don't know. We don't know what they're saying to the next group of people about what they're willing to spend or what they view as the future of the program or what they can actually deliver. So I'm confident that they're going to talk to the right people and come to a determination that makes sense at the time. And by the way, when Adrien Autry was hired, he was always going to get the job. That was what was of the program at the time. That's in terms of the decision makers that were in place. That was the play. And it's worked out the way it's worked out to this point.
Yeah, and I tend to think it's a weird, I don't know if it's true or not, but I tend to think that if the people that are donating money care about the university, whoever the university picks, they'll help win. I don't think it's, you didn't help, you didn't pick the guy we want, so we're not giving our money. And
I think that only exists to where the pockets are connected super personally, and I don't think there's a ton of that. Yeah. Whether it's Syracuse or somewhere else, there's not zero of that. I mean, there certainly are stories you've heard at other. I'm trying to think of one specifically, but at other places where, no, this is the guy. T. Boone Pickens at Oklahoma State. He was close personal friends with the athletic director. From for decades and whatever, and then he was able, I think, because he gave so much money to be able to say, hey, this is the guy, and then when he tired of him, this isn't the guy, whether it was Mike Gundy or whatever. So I think that exists more than zero. I don't see that really happening here. I just, not that I know everything about where the money's coming from and all of that. I don't think there's someone out there that has big money that's contingent on an individual.
Yeah, and if there is, you have to listen.
Hey, look, my theme of what I'm saying here, you have to listen to all of it.
Yeah.
You have to consider everything right now. If you view this as a spectrum or whatever, every end of the spectrum. I'm just not going to the super extreme. I'm not saying that this person or that person is absolutely disqualified or there's no absolute slam dunk.
Let's go to Vito. Vito, what's up?
Yeah, so here's my angle, and I don't want to sound like a broken record. I want to talk a little bit about Mike Hopkins, okay? I felt like everybody else, he deserved the job. He was around for 20 years. Is it the right thing to go family route? No. In my opinion, no. I think when you got a guy like Hodgson as a possibility with his track record, you go with that because they've tried the family thing. Here's my problem, though. I love Mike Hopkins. I've met him. He's an awesome guy. My problem is the way he left town. And I called Higgins' show, and I don't mean to bring this up again. Boeheim called right after because of my accusations about him knowing, basically forcing Hopkins out of town. I firmly believe that from what I've heard that that's the case, and Boeheim lied about it. I feel based on that, he deserves the job. However, his performance at Washington doesn't back that up, in my opinion. But that there's an aspect to this whole thing that he deserves a shot. He waited 20 years, blah, blah, blah. I'm torn on it. My brain says go with, a proven guy like Hodgson. My heart says Hopkins. Matt, what are your thoughts on that?
I know it's going to sound like I'm playing both sides of the fence. What I don't get, I just can't dismiss a guy. I think I hear it, not necessarily you, Vito. I think I hear from some people or some between the lines this concept that if you're from here or if you coached under Jim Boeheim or played under Jim Boeheim, it's not going to go well. Or because it hasn't gone great for Autry, it's definitely not going to go great for Hopkins or McNamara. I'm not making that leap. I don't get that at all. Now, Hop's record speaks for itself at Washington. It wasn't as good as you would want it to be if you're dying to hire him. I'm not going to kill him on a COVID season. I don't know the exact parameters of what happened there, but that was messed up for everybody. Obviously, winning 5 out of 26 games in any circumstance is not good. I don't know the exact detail of that, so let's just set that one aside. But that's not Hop's only experience. Just like, you think Jim Boeheim's the only person he learned basketball from? He's been with USA Basketball. He's been with the NBA teams, multiple teams. He's tight with Kevin Durant. And, when people like that stamp the guy, then it should speak well for them, and it's irrespective of their experience here at Syracuse. That being said, if you want to say Hodgson or whoever else is in that category of names, the fact that they are having success means they've done something right that didn't happen for everybody. Hodgson has not been a head coach for super long, but he's done it at a couple of different places. If this were 2 years into Mike Hopkins' tenure at Washington, you'd be foaming at the mouth to get him, right? Because he was conference coach of the year 2 years. So I think the longer people go, you're not going to, the idea that you're going to start and have, just reel off a whole bunch of successful seasons in a row is exceptionally rare. That's why you have to treasure the Jim Boeheims of the world and that type that were immediately successful and then have had their ups and downs after that. It's not that easy to do. So, again, I'm not 100% in either of those camps. I think you've got to I just think you've got to look at those two and different options and talk it through. And it's not going to be conversations that we're privy to. We can have our own mock versions here on the radio. I'm not dismissing Hop because of his Washington tenure just yet. I want to hear about it. Hey, what went wrong? What would you do differently? How would you interact with NIL? I think we're all in agreement that Hop would leverage the money people and the alums and that type of thing here. How can you use that to improve the program? I don't view him as the same guy as Adrien Autry, et cetera. So that I just think we're making too many kind of leaps on that kind of stuff. So both of those would be eligible along with several others in my book.
All right, we'll take a time out, and we'll hit another thing. I also think people think that if you go out of family, it's just going to work immediately. Like that's there's no guaranteeing the next coach, even if he's not in family, is going to fix this.
No, and I think we could talk about some things, whether it's today or another time. And this comes back to the athletic director level. What are the things you do that put the coach, whether it's Adrien Autry or somebody else, in position to succeed? And there's things that have to be examined about the program that are totally irrespective of who the coach is. And we can hit on some of those if you'd like.
All right, we'll take a time out on ESPN Radio Syracuse, Utica-Roma, QSportsTalk.com. I did not see the new picture.
McCaslin's a candidate at Texas Tech. McDermott at Creighton. Why would you think that?
Why do we all look so fat in these pictures? Did you see this?
I am fat. Looks like
that's Steve crying in the window.
Yeah.
I've seen this $30 million story too. That seems like Duke's. I heard Duke's roster's 15. That's double Duke's.
Well, it doesn't mean you spend it all in one place, right?
I mean, you would get 2 years out of that?
Well, the money, again, if you're changing coaches, you got to pay the current coach. You got to pay the next coach more. You've got to have your roster at 10 plus.
2 years? Yeah. See, that's where I hate NIL. It's like, so you get 2 years of it, and then you're back to where you were, and it's just not sustainable. Did Alan Griffin have sex with your mom? Q Sports and or that you hate him so much?
How did the university let the turnover happen like this? People retire. What do you mean? Chancellor was here for 10 years. The AD was here for 10 years.
I'll be at dinner on Monday, too. Lucky for you.
Thanks for the warning. It's a swanky place.
I know. I'll dress nice. That's one of my favorite places to eat on our road trip. So that's why I said yes.
And Allie said she's pulling out all the stops, so we're getting dessert, she said.
Oh, the sneaker?
The dessert, yeah.
You remember the sneaker?
That's $75.
Was that a cake? A sneaker cake?
Cake, the Air Jordan.
Yeah.
And then the Muhammad Ali boxing glove.
Yeah, I'm in on that one every time. Plus, we got 9 o'clock start the next day, so I can sleep through my food coming.
$7.45, so I don't hate that.
Are you coming back from Wake? You Get What You Give is the next randomly playing on mine. The New Radicals. It's a good song. Let's take one quick call. Get back on time here. Mike in Bradenton, Florida. Mike, how are you, buddy?
Good. How you doing, guys? Matt, I heard you run down the list there.
Yes,
and I think I got it all figured out.
Okay, let's hear it.
We either have to hire within the Syracuse family, out of the family, somebody old, somebody young, a power forward guy, or a mid-major guy, and then we're all set. It's pretty simple.
Well, don't forget, they only have to be good at offense, defense, recruiting, fundraising, press conferences.
Yeah, right.
And be a nice guy.
It's not hard to find that.
Right.
It's not hard to find that. But I was thinking, I was even thinking of another angle. The athletic director, depending on whether they stay in family or out of family and do something with that too, they're going to cut. If you get somebody who's, who's got great experience, but somewhere else, they've done things differently. They've dealt with NIL just like we have during the transitionary period. Most likely they've seen it done a whole different way than what we've done. The way they've, the different players they've watched, the teams they've seen,
that's
the
why I
style.
think, again, we're talking about who's fat and whatever. I like picking from the buffet, a little bit of everything, right? So, okay, so to me, ideal candidates really for any job have some sort of affinity for the place. Doesn't mean you hadn't necessarily had to work here, but you hold it in some sort of position, because if you view it as just any other place or just a job, you just don't have the passion for it. And I view the same thing about my own position. I love being here. I'm from here. It's my privilege to work here. If I had the same job at wherever, Big Ten school, game day'd be fun still, but I'd have to go back and I would have to learn and read about the history at Illinois or Michigan State or whatever. Here I know it and I've lived it, and that's why this job is on a pedestal for me personally in that way. But I don't think it's great if this is the only place you've ever worked. And that works against you. You need to have gone elsewhere, because there are several unique factors about being here, and it helps to have some sort of familiarity, know the combination of the safe, so to speak. But you do want to be exposed to other stuff. How do they do it at other schools, other conferences? You do need somebody, there's certain parameters about what I think makes people successful anywhere, but certainly here. And there is a capacity about doing more with less and being creative and working through some of those things. So I think the right person for any position has some sort of familiarity with the place or affinity for the place, whether they've worked here or not, but has been exposed to a bunch of different ideas and can bring them to the table. Because again, the part of the new job, the new athletic director, they've got to create, we can get into this again later if you want. They've got to create some alignment. They've got to breathe some fresh air into everything here. And there's got to be some creativity and some teamwork and all of those things. And so if you've got examples from other places you've been, this is how we did it, this has worked, I think this would work here, that's what is going to make for a healthy discussion and an improvement on what's going on.
All right, let's take a time out. When we come back, we'll get an update on the market, all the diamonds and all the dogs from Lee Baldwin. And we will also speak to Coach Autry at the top of the hour. It's ESPN Radio Syracuse, Utica, Rome, and QSportsTalk.com. You make this job much easier. Matt.
What, than you or than Steve or not?
Yeah, you just talk. I like it.
I have no idea the clocks or the when you're trying to take breaks necessarily. So keep me honest on that.
All right.
But I should. It's just really every 15 minutes, right?
I'll still go off on nonsense.
Oh, we like nonsense.
Do you have any strange eating habits?
Me?
Yeah.
I like to eat. I'm not very. You don't get a body like this by being selective. No, I know you guys talk about that all the time. I'm trying to think if there's something.
Is there one food you don't like?
I'm sure there is. I'm trying to. Not a huge mayo guy.
Neither am I, but I'm not adverse to it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't gross me out maybe as much as it did at one time. John on
I don't like
on the
anchovies.
YouTube. It's like Matt talks for a living. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but yeah, this isn't a hobby.
You anchovies?
Bill Murray's kid, huh?
Anchovies?
Anchovies, no.
Yeah, I'm not either. Olives. Do you like? I like olives.
I do like olives. Black olives in particular, but I do like olives. Yeah.
Do you like pathologically bland foods?
Yeah. Steve's eating habits are incredible. Hard to fathom.
Chicken mole. I like a good mole.
Where do you find a mole in Syracuse?
You don't.
I was going to say.
But I have enjoyed it before. Growing up in California, you're introduced to moles.
It's what Steve's thing. Nothing white. Doesn't he eat anything white?
White and,
Yeah.
white and creamy. How he says that without laughing every day. Who's Matt's favorite men's basketball player?
Pearl Washington.
Oh.
Stevie Thompson. Billy Owens. More recently, Wesley Johnson. Tyus Battle.
All Syracuse
Jerry
guys?
McNamara. I mean, I thought that's what the question was, but Derek Coleman. I said Stevie Thompson, I'm sure.
My favorite was...
But no, I'm
Stevie
just
Thompson's
of
probably my
the
favorite.
age where Pearl Washington was
I like Dave Johnson.
the man. Moten, we always skip over Moten.
Chris Bell. Benny Williams is a dog. Gino
All right, we got to
Thorpe.
hunker down. We got Red right at the top of the hour. CJ Fair, yes, absolutely, Cheryl. Oh. Good suggestion here about something that I like to eat that most people wouldn't think of. If I have a slice of fruit pie, my favorite dessert is cherry pie. And my father did this. I like it. Sharp cheddar cheese with cherry pie.
Yeah, people do that with apple pie, too.
Yeah, apple pie. But apple pie has other kind of things with it. But either of those, yeah. Marius Janulis, that's a good pull. Josh Pace, yep. Demetrius, absolutely. Hakeem Warwick, yep.
Hello, you fool. I love you.
Roxette Joyride. Another Paulie song off of his Every Ride to an Arena with Me is a Joyride.
Yeah, it's not a joyride, but it's absolutely, in some cases it's death-defying. But how can we? It doesn't seem like these are a lot of your hits on the ride. Of late, of course, you're listening to the goofy GPS.
Yeah.
Which is a whole different category.
Yeah, people don't know. I haven't explained that. I've changed the voices on my GPS to a golf a Viking for a couple road trips, and then I did the golf announcer.
Why don't you spend your free time and program it as a Steve? You could have Steve GPS.
I don't feel safe making the left turn coming up here around the corner. Let's go to Bill from Lee Baldwin. Bill, how are the markets looking?
Markets are a little bit lower, and it's mostly due to our dog today, which is NVIDIA, the largest company in the U.S. It's down 4%, even though earnings were spectacular, guidance was spectacular, but it's had a good run-up, just normal pullback, so that's the weakness in the market. But there's plenty of diamonds. We're going with a Krispy Kreme, trading up on better-than-expected earnings and a turnaround there. And then IMAX is strong as well at a new high, as they're touting a strong plate of new movies coming out this year for them, including Dune and Odyssey and a few others. So plenty of diamonds out there today, but the markets are modestly lower.
All right. Thanks, Bill.
Yes.
Appreciate it, Bill.
That's Bill from Lee Baldwin. Lee Baldwin, all the diamonds, none of the dogs. LeeBaldwin.com. Those that joined us on Q Sports Talk and YouTube got to hear Matt Park's eating habits. Much different than Stephen Fonte's.
Frequent?
Yeah, frequent and just.
I like to eat. I'm not going to hide from it. So
I was going to ask you a question about your job. What is your favorite call you've ever made since you've had this job?
I don't know. I mean, my favorite game, of course, is the 6 overtime.
Okay.
The next answer to that typically is the 06 Big East tournament, which was awesome. And I remember, during that time, and it's like, 3 days in a row, overtime or last second kind of things. I'm thinking, how do you one-up it, or how do you encapsulate each one that's new? So I don't have a favorite. You never feel like you totally nail them. I do lose sleep over that if I feel like I blew it. I mean, it's like I don't know, the 2016 run to the Final Four, the end of the Gonzaga game, Virginia game. You hope you hit the moment at those, but no real true favorite comes to mind. John Gillen at the end of the Duke game. That one is cool because Coach Saddlelin's involved, and when we have clipped it, like we've put it on the hold system at the university and that type of thing. Coach Saddlin has his famous line, which we've kind of led him to recall a couple times since. Let's get a stop, make a shot, and run out of the gym, which is just a really cool concept, And that's exactly what happened. They got a stop, they hit a shot, they ran out of the gym. And, and so that one was just so much exuberance that I don't think I said anything other than, Gillen making the shot and just kind of start screaming. The 2014, the run to 25-0, I was trying to hit the different milestones. So when there was 21-0, I said, they've hit blackjack 21. When it was 25-0 was the Tyler Ennis game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So that so you just try to hit the moment and wing it.
All right. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. We'll hear from Coach Autry. He joins us next. Thanks to our friends at Oswego County Mutual on ESPN Radio, Syracuse, Utica-Rome, QSportsTalk.com. Off to Never Neverland was a good one, Armosaurus. Yeah. From what I recall of Jerry's run, those were good.
Yeah, I mean, the Cincinnati game, he hit the shot, and I said, the Orange have beaten Cincinnati. And there was 0.5 seconds left, which sucks. But then you also don't want to I hate when people buzzkill the call. Like, there's a flag on the play, or they're going to review it. So what? Let's let the dust settle, and then we'll cover that part of it. Because typically those things stand, and you want the moment and the highlight to stand. But yeah, I screw them up. I have a high standard for myself, though, so nothing's never quite the way you want it to be. Copeland at the end of the Miami game. The one that's played so often, you guys play at the CJ Fair at Duke. that to me was the most sort of visceral. Like I'm usually not like that. I'm not on the referees most of the time. That was just an incredible visceral react. Like that's absolutely completely spur of the moment, natural reaction that it looks like they're going to beat Duke at Duke. This play blew it up, and then the 2 technicals for Boeheim, and just the whole way that kind of blew up was really one of the more memorable, incredible moments.
Yeah, when Boeheim got kicked out, I have to leave early to go down to do the interview, and I had no idea any of that had happened. So he comes walking in with 2 minutes left on the clock, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Doug Logan did the Wallace 96 run.
Yeah.
That Final Four run in 16 also was a lot like Jerry's run, where we're always like, all right, we got one more game. This has been fun. We'll enjoy it. And then they just kept winning and winning. I still don't know how that team beat UConn. Autry, all right. I won't pause. Okay.
Oh, you can't see it in here?
Yeah, no.
You see it up there, I guess.
They'll tell us. Pump Up the Volume by Mars. Is this more like the usual type of stuff you'd hear?
Yeah. When I think of your playlist, I think of just 80s random stuff. Either one-hit wonders, which I know is kind of your specialty.
This is an 80s one-hit wonder.
Yeah, or, kind of the early hip-hop kind of stuff. But you're a music man, Paulie. It's pretty good. This one to get a thumbs up. Moving along.
Yeah, we waiting on Coach Autry here.
The first thing I want to ask Red, I was thinking about him last night watching the end of this Wake Forest BC game. Now, it's not a tournament scenario. It's not like you get the winner and then there were 2 lead changes in the final 20 seconds, so you're waffling on that. Obviously, Syracuse knows they are taking Wake Forest as the next opponent, but Wake hits a shot to basically win the game with 17 seconds to go, and then gives up one with 2 seconds early in the final second, and they lose 68-67. Juke Harris is obviously extraordinary at 38 points out of the 67 for Wake in the game. So we'll get Red's thoughts on Wake and sizing them up and the type of team and season that they're having. But I'm curious to see his reaction as he was watching that one.
Yeah, another part of that story is Forbes gets the nod of approval from the AD for year 7, and then they go out and lose to BC at BC, which is
Forbes is a guy who's 7th year, hasn't made the tournament, did make the tournament his previous stop, East Tennessee State, won bid league and that whole thing. And I, saw the Mike Waters write up today on Syracuse.com, the idea of, how does NIL impact what you do? And Forbes used an expression that I would use observing Wake Forest from afar. They've punched above their weight. They're not going to have the highest budget, and they've done okay. This year, they're lower middle of the pack, and, that's just the way it's going to be there. We got Coach Autry, sounds like. And, Red, I was thinking about you watching the end of the BC Wake game last night, and I'm curious, were you watching that live in real time, or did you just look at the cut-ups in the office today?
I was going back and forth. I missed the last. I kind of shut it off once they took a lead, so I watched the ending last night, not live, though. I was, I thought Boston College had put it away pretty, right. And obviously in basketball, it's never over until it's over with. And Wake made a really fierce comeback and took the lead. But that's basketball, and it was an exciting finish for one team and not so exciting for the other.
Well, I said it's not, in a tournament scenario, which you're going to have here in a couple of weeks, you're waiting on the result to determine, your scouting report and who you're playing next. Here in the regular season, you're focusing on Wake Forest, and you're done with BC for now. So it didn't really impact that, but I was just kind of curious because, you're talking about a Wake Forest. Had they won, it would have been, 4 out of 5 for them. Coming into the game on the weekend down there. And we can get your thoughts on Wake here in a little bit, but the game they had last night was really interesting because their second best player, Nate Calmes, comes off injury. He'd missed the last handful, has a good first half, turns his other ankle apparently, and sits the second half, and Juke Harris was their star throughout. But we'll pick that back up. I was just curious, Coach, no midweek game this week. That's the ebb and flow of the schedule. And if you could just kind of give the listeners an idea of where everybody is in terms of just a little bit of a reset button here, or a breath of fresh air to be off your feet or not have a game on Tuesday and Wednesday, and how that leads you here to the stretch run of the season.
Yeah, I think obviously having, like you said, some time off, it gave us some time to, heal up a little bit of bumps and bruises from the season. Obviously, be able to kind of reset for these last, this final stretch. So it's been a good time for us to kind of, as a team, to kind of get a little bit of rest with our bodies, but get back into work and really try to continually, challenge our team and get better in certain areas, as we finish these last 3 games and try to prepare for the, for the tournament. So that's kind of what we've been able to do, reset, and really just kind of, get our mindset going down this final stretch of games.
This month of February, we've all known from the time the schedule came out, this was the, quote, gauntlet portion of the schedule. In February, you played North Carolina, Virginia, Duke, and then Carolina again, and 2 and 4 in that stretch. When you size up, kind of how that went, what did it reveal about your team? Any surprises there?
I thought, obviously, the last game at Carolina, we were, a couple of, I felt like we were a couple of momentum-changing plays. Not to say that we would have came out with the win. I thought it would have helped us. And in that game, to try to get a different outcome. We knew this was, February was going to be a tough month for us. I thought our guys responded. I thought they fought. I mean, you take away, obviously, the Duke game and the Carolina games at their place. All the games, we put ourselves in position to either win or be close enough. So I thought we battled overall when you look back and challenged. But, again, just came up short. And some of that is, most of that is, things that of our own doing. I challenge myself, and I challenge our staff, and I challenge our team to those things that we came up short on, and things that are all, correctable. That's how, we've finished out the month of February, or we're finishing out the month of February, especially this end stretch of being able to kind of correct those things that we can control.
When you're talking about correcting things, now that you've had time to look back on the North Carolina game, what went wrong offensively for you, and are those correctable things?
You would say yes. I mean, we missed shots. I mean, we really had some, we probably missed 5 to 6 layups. Like where you just have to make those. We had a couple of wide open looks that just didn't go in, and I thought that was the difference. I thought our defense, for the most part, kept it close for us, but our offense, once we tied it up at 44-44, we had a, wide open three for Tyler Betsy that he normally makes those. That makes it 1 point game. Early in the first half, I thought JJ and Nate had a couple of shots that just they normally make. You need to make those against Carolina, and those are the things that are the difference when you're playing against those teams. So I thought the difference was, it wasn't that we didn't get shots, we just didn't make shots. I thought our offense actually generated some pretty decent shots. We just didn't make enough.
I'm looking at the official stats from that game right now, Red, and obviously there's some human interaction here. It takes a human being to designate the shot as a layup, a jumper, whatever. But statistically, at least 9 missed layups in that game.
Yeah, I mean,
9.
Yeah, and that's the difference. That really is, shots at the rim that, typically we make those. If you make those, it's a different game. It really is. I think even if we made those in the first half, you go up in the half, probably either up 2, up 3, up 4. Obviously it's another 20 minutes to play, but that's what I seen. That's what I took from that game as I peeled it back and watched it over and over and over again. Obviously defensively, we had a couple of mistakes, a couple of miscommunications, which that happens, breakdowns. But they're a good team. You're not holding a good team like North Carolina. I mean, we held them into the sweet point where you thought you had a chance to win, which is low 70s. Try to keep them in the 60s. I thought we were kind of right around that range until the end where we had to foul. If you didn't have to foul and impress, that's probably would have been the final score. So I thought defensively it was there. Just offensively, we didn't make shots, and we got good shots.
All right, let's transition into Wake, and we'll have more time with Coach Autry tonight out at the Wildcat Sports Pub. Wake is led by Juke Harris, coach, who's among the most improved players in the conference. And when I say led, I'm saying he's the only player who scored in double figures for them last night. He had 38 points.
Yeah.
Took 19 shots out of their 62. Do you see that is that a one-on-one with Donnie thing? How does that play out Saturday night?
That's everybody. Juke is a guy that that's a team, that's a collective thing. He's super efficient. He's one of the best scorers. I think he's an NBA type player. He's an NBA player. Got good size and shoots it. They run a lot of stuff to get him shots, but they also have other good players around him. So obviously Juke is one of those guys. I always say there's certain guys that they're going to get their they're going to get their points. You just want to make them work, make them difficult. You try to shut them down a little bit, but you can't forget about the other guys because he commands so much attention. So I think that's really the mindset going in, is seeing if we can keep Wake Forest in check and try to make Juke work. That's all you can really do.
Yeah, you could figure a bounce back for guys like Miles Colvin. He missed every shot he took in the game yesterday. That's not going to happen, Again, just kind of looking at the box score.
Yeah, and they're a very good home team. They play really well at home. They've had some big...
To the home recently?
Yep, they got some big wins at home. And some games that they could have come out with, they came out on the other end. They're very, very close for that record being very different because they've had a lot of close losses. So this is a very good team, talented offensive team. It'll be a challenge for us. Again, like you said, that game that they just had, those guys are going to play better. You got to expect that they will play better, especially at home. And then after a loss, that they just had right there on the road, they'll be fired up.
I'll say this about Wake. Every team is different in February than it was in November. Every team. It's not just Syracuse. We spend all this time going back to the Las Vegas trip and using that as a perspective for the rest of the year. Wake. So again, it was a couple months back, but in November they probably should have beaten Michigan. They kind of squandered that game. They lose by 1, and then the week after that, Texas Tech, same thing. They lost by 1. Those are two teams that are going to be probably in the Elite 8. I mean, are certainly going to be right in the mix. So that's why I think Wake's again again, a team, like Syracuse at its top end is capable of hanging with anybody, and just over the course of 30 games, you just don't always play like that.
Yeah, I think they've had some injuries, with some guys, prior to that. Right now, they're missing a point guard who's having a really, really good year. Don't know if he'll be back for Saturday's game, but they again, talent, good team, and it's the ACC. I don't think it's no gimmies. I think you have to show up, especially this year. This league is really good. These teams are really good, and it's going to be set up for an exciting finish for us, as well as the league. A lot of games being played that are meaningful games throughout the league for everyone. So I just think you're going to see high level basketball across the conference. Exciting games, battles. Again, not perfectly played, but intense, tough games.
Looking forward to it.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time. We'll see you tonight out at Wildcat.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Take care, guys.
It's Coach Autry. Oswego County Mutual brings that to us every Thursday. And Donnie Freeman will be there, too, signing autographs. Come out, make him work.
Yeah.
Past few times
make him earn his wings?
Yeah. Past few times he's just been sitting there signing and pre-signing. Make him stand in line. And you can save him from one guy who just comes and talks to him the whole time, telling him how to play basketball. So that's tonight, right on TK99. And it's ESPN Radio Syracuse, Utica Rome, and QSportsTalk.com. Yeah, that's a stupid take saying JJ's not a Division I player. He may not be. He might not be the best player, but come on.
I think people don't understand what they mean when they say it's like a put down. Oh, he's a Division II, Division III. I don't think you understand the levels. And there's also a difference between when you're in Division I, are you a major conference player? Are you a leader on a major conference team? Are you an all conference caliber player? In JJ's case, he's a preseason all conference caliber player that's not going to be on the all conference teams at the end of the year. That's the story. David Mott on YouTube. The reason for that is the connection with the AD. The Pitt AD had been at Buffalo. Nick Costa, no. Is Red's next job a head coaching job? Probably not. But your comments leading up to that are too much. David, you didn't know Capel was in trouble? He's made the tournament once.
The only thing he's got working for him now is apparently he's got
this year. Well, no, this year their injuries are ridiculous. They've Cummings is out. They've lost. They had a guy, their best player. They're coming in from Iowa State. Got medically disqualified in the fall. Never had him. So.
Favorite meal at Wildcat, Matt?
It's a pizza place, so.
I like their
the chicken parm sub they do is good. Chicken Philly.
I had the roast beef panini. It was really good. That might be what I get tonight.
They do a good job.
Their tots are next level.
Tots, huh? Got to pay extra for that? Tots?
Tots? No, they're just a regular size.
They are?
Yeah.
I think it's an upcharge from chips.
Well, then I'm a big spender, man. I don't notice money.
Huh? No money? No.
Yeah.
Money's no object?
Yeah.
Can't hide money?
Sometimes I get guac and don't even think about it.
Wow. Brazen. What else we got? Calls? No calls?
There goes the no-hitter. Freak Me by
Have you
Silk.
ever thrown a no-hitter?
No. Freak Me. You know what this song's about?
You might have to help me with that. Oh. That takes away the...
It's Silk. You don't remember this song? This is a banger. This is on my...
play along.
This is on my
I
mix.
think when you sit in this seat, you lose the...
Yeah, your coolness.
lose the feel for that.
Well, I
don't have a lot of coolness.
I definitely... that was on the mixtape for the ladies.
Yeah. How'd that work out for you?
Yeah, I had no idea what I was talking about back then. So if I sent that out. I got a fun survey I want to ask you if you can guess on in a second.
That should be good.
Dave in Syracuse, what's up?
Hey, guys. Let's start with this. I'm Adrien Autry, and I rooted him from the get-go, and I wanted him to succeed so bad. And I hope he wins the next 3 games, wins the ACC tournament, and makes a run to the Final Four. I'll be behind him in every game. But it's kind of hard to talk about this topic, having him on the show just now speaking. But assuming that doesn't all happen, I wanted to just kind of put in my 2 cents on who the choice should be, and then ask Matt a question. But one of the things I've heard on this show from so-called insiders, experts, is that Jerry McNamara wasn't a good recruiter. He could never close the deal with big recruits, this and that. And yet, I don't think there's ever been a guy that's played under Jerry as their position coach that didn't love him and think they got better because of him. And I don't know. I can't imagine anyone who has a son who plays at the level of a D1 big-time college player that wouldn't want their son to play for Jerry McNamara. It would make no sense to me at all. And I thought, honestly, from the time he left the floor on his senior day in that loss to Villanova, when he walked off the court, just the gut feeling in me that day, guys I'm with, I said, he'll be back here someday as a coach. I always thought that. So, having said that, Matt, can I put you on the spot?
Sure.
In your position, this is going to be a tough question because of your relationship to the program. But if you put your AD hat on right now, who might you choose as the next head coach?
Well, again, the reason the way I'm going to punt that question is this. All we know, and your logic and your arguments are totally apt. I agree with virtually everything you've said. We're not doing interviews here. I know Jerry McNamara fairly well. I've never sat across the table from him when he's a recruit. Same with as a recruit, and see how does he close or not close. I mean, he just got the top level recruit from Everett Siena, happens to be from my high school. I know the kid's dad, and they're thrilled, right, with their relationship with Jerry McNamara and everything else. I have a lot of questions I would ask for the incoming coach. I'd be very comfortable if you said tomorrow Jerry McNamara is the next coach of Syracuse basketball. I'd be very comfortable. I would be fine with that. I'd be fine with a lot of people, which, by the way, remind me we can go back on the when wanting to rail on the pushback on Mike Waters here from the other day. But look, it was Dave that called him. Sorry,
yeah,
Dave. Dave, Jerry could be great. Jerry could be great down the line. Maybe he's not the next coach. Maybe he's the one after the next coach. I think very highly of him and would have very little hesitation being around Jerry McNamara. Going back to my relationship with the program, just again, put everybody's cards on the table, full disclosure, I'm going to be thrilled to work with the next coach, whoever it is. Okay? Or the current coach, whatever. It's not my job to decide who the coach is. I want to see them win. They haven't won enough with the current coach. If a change comes, whatever. That's decision is made way beyond me. I can talk about the likelihood of it and different things like that. But I do have relationships with all these people and hope to keep all the relationships with all these people. So that's going around and around. I don't have in my mind this person absolutely should be the next one because I think all the stuff that we on the outside hear about and think and is taken as fact isn't always necessarily fact. And I think that's why you have committees that can sit and actually interview these people and point blank ask them, hey, what about this or what about that? What are you going to do? And then at least you're getting a little more intimately involved with the candidate, and they're kind of making promises that you can hold them accountable to whether they keep those or not. I have a little more access than most, but you can't claim to have seen every last detail, who speaks up or who says what in coaches' meetings and whatever. I can make my educated guesses and have a sense of that. But I can't say for certain. Just like, I think there's fans who purport to tie recruits to certain individual assistant coaches. It hasn't always worked like that. They'll tag team here and there. They'll make, presentations as a group to the individuals they're recruiting. And, yes, there may be some person who takes the lead, but I don't know that one person all the time gets the credit or the blame for individual recruits. Under Coach Boeheim, the assistant coaches were assigned basically in a position group approach. That's why when you think about Jerry McNamara, you think about guards that were under his wing, the Joe Girards and Trevor Coonies. You could picture him working out, so there's a very close alignment there. Coach Autry, it's a little bit more like offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, that type of thing. You don't always necessarily see a direct one-to-one correlation of this is who's working with this guy all the time. So that's different ways to go about it.
All right. Let's take another time out. People want to know if your neck and back hurt any more from sitting in the chair, catching Steve's shrapnel injuries?
I don't think it's contagious.
Okay. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. What the hell do we get? Do we got today's business coming up? I don't care, really.
Excited for it.
Paul will be in.
Just move it along. Let's do calls.
Oh. I guess we're not doing today's business? Did we get banned from today's
business? St. Morris?
Wow.
Whatever. Do whatever you want to do.
Are they scared to have you?
Well,
I thought we'd get to...
Should I go reload the parking meter out? You made me park outside, so...
I did?
Well, you didn't make me, but there was no other provision for parking.
All right, quick question for you. What fan base do you think has the most fights in its stands? So it's like...
Give me choices?
Out of
Eagles.
NFL.
Philadelphia
the Eagles are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th on the list. So can you name 5 of the top 10?
This is all NFL?
Yeah, NFL.
All NFL and Eagles are 5th out of the NFL?
5th in the NFL and fights in the stands.
So who would be higher?
Yep.
Cleveland?
No. I'll tell you, they're all...
Raiders?
Raiders are number 2.
Browns?
Browns are not. No.
Cowboys?
Cowboys are 3rd. They're the majority of them are basically associated with the same city.
L.A.?
Yeah, so you got the Chargers and Rams.
That stadium's so beautiful,
Raiders.
and the tickets are so expensive. People are going there and they're fighting and getting thrown out.
So it goes to Chargers, Raiders, Cowboys, Rams, 49ers, Eagles.
I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought Eagles.
I thought the Bills would be higher, but they're 9th on the list. Patriots coming in at 10th. So there you go. If you are trying to not get into fisticuffs, stay out of the L.A. stadium. It's ESPN Radio, Syracuse, Utica Rome, QSportsTalk.com. Are you doing today's business?
Yeah, on the 3rd.
Right.
Oh. Yeah, I don't turn past page 2. I'm too bougie.
What is the business? Is that on here?
You really do.
The point of the business is to be blindsided by it. Are you going to bring up Matt Waldron's hemorrhoids?
No, I was going to bring up Sorsby and if contracts really matter because if schools can just pay to get a player out of it, like Mensa at Duke. Or we could do Chandler Morris trying to get a 7th year. To get a 7th year. The Chaz Clan, have you ever had a cavity?
Yes.
So, Paulie, address the recruiting prowess of having less importance with the NIL. Well, yeah, if you have more money, you don't have to be as good of a recruiter anymore because you just. But that's how it was before NIL also, too. If you had more money, you're.
NIL also creates margin for error. If you have a recruiting miss, which happens everywhere, you can get more players or can compensate for it with NIL. You can go get somebody else. Yeah, make up for it.
People are not a fan of this shirt, but I'm not like Stephen Fani. I'm not going to retire it because the cat doesn't like it.
The quarter's it.
If they, my friend's plumbing operation. If Steve's shirt gets criticized, he doesn't wear it again.
Yeah, he calls it retiring the shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
His retired shirt, that would be funny.
Have a ceremony, raise them up. Even just like little miniature versions of them.
That's a great idea.
You see, if you make fun of my shirt, I'll probably wear this 5 days in a row now.
They've been calling you a UPS driver.
Yeah. Got to get ready for my other job. Do you like Magic the Gathering, Matt Park?
No. Don't know anything about it. Did you say you need you don't need an account, or maybe you do for PSA submission?
You have to have an account. I have one.
And what?
It gets you
You have an
deals.
account, okay.
Yeah.
But the account alone that's not subscription.
It's $100 a year.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. So if you guys want to send in cards, I'll send in.
Yeah.
I did a card for you for free.
You did. No, I mean,
you're a
to be able
scam.
to do it is a scam. I'd say it's just a
The past year, though, they haven't had any deals on sports cards because
Well,
they
didn't they
must be
just-
so far behind.
Yeah.
It takes like 6 months to
Yeah,
get
it's
them.
crazy. But didn't they just up the price again? Isn't it like $30 a card?
I'd have to look. I haven't looked.
Some of their competitors, of course, the same company owns them all, right? But some of their competitors, it looks like they can gain by doing a better job of encasing the cards and stuff.
Beckett does good ones. They're just super thick. Like
Black. I've never. I don't know. I don't have any graded. But
Did you subscribe to the Boombox or just get one?
no, I just did the one time. I'm just easing my. I'm just
You get
dipping my
the-
toe into the water. But I do have. Well, it's not just that. It's. I've got a new place with more storage, so all my stuff from childhood.
What did they charge you $1,200 for?
These big boxes.
Govendo
I've
for
got
one card or?
I've got to boil down. You know,
That
either
can't be a
decide what
one
I'm
card
gonna
thing.
throw
How many
away or
cards did you
consolidate it
send
or
in?
Whatever. So what I am going to do is I do have it's all I'm right in the wheelhouse of the junk wax era, but I do have a couple old Jordan
So
and
how-
stuff like that that May as well just send them in. I mean, they're not going to be 10s, but they'll.
How much was the card worth?
Worst case scenario, it still encapsulates it's still.
Oh, is that your Ohtani? So it's probably like an $8,000 card if they charge you $1,200 to grade.
They upcharge you, right? If
If you set it like a Mickey, you get charged more.
Yeah. That to me makes no sense. That's unfair.
Yeah.
Unless they turn around faster or give it greater care or give you a better product or.
Come on, play. There we go. Method of Modern Love by Hall & Oates.
Of all the Hall & Oates songs.
It's a random. This is a banger, too. Paul joins us.
Hello.
Oh, your mic's on.
There you go. Hello, everyone. Today's business brought to you by Superior Plus Propane. Real quick, I have to ask, do you know what kind of a mood he's in based on the playlist when you get in the car?
No, because it is largely random, right?
Is it just massively okay? Right.
I'm always in a good mood.
I was wondering that, but
especially on game day. Why wouldn't I be in a good mood on game day?
Yeah,
going to a game for free.
Getting to sit in the best seats.
Sit next to Matt Park and Coach Sadlin.
It's the dream right there, Paulie, Scibilia. So I was going to touch on a couple of things. College football really is. We'll start Chandler Morris trying to get a 7th year. He's trying to get it because of an injury. He took an injury, red shirt. I want to say it was 2022. He played 5 games, or he played 4 games, started one, I want to say, that year. And I mean, with Trinidad Chambers getting it because he went to a JUCO, if he gets this red shirt, what's the point of, or if he gets the extra years, I should say, what's the point, really, of not people just going for 10 years?
Yeah, I mean,
because they'll get the money.
The answer is COVID, but when did we just start? Well, there's no more limitation. I know the reasons. It's because the NCAA is feckless and can't hold anybody to anything. Yeah. And you can't just tell somebody anymore now, apparently, that, hey, your time is up. Chandler Morris, first 3 years of his career, 20, 21, 22, played 5, 4, and 4 games. 2020 in Oklahoma threw 5 pass attempts. That's just the way it is. I mean, for decades, it was like, hey, you got injured, you lost a year. We can give that back as a medical hardship or a red shirt one time. But the idea that there's an excuse for every year, and now you're going to have 24-year-old quarterbacks on the regular in college football is rough. But again, wherever he lands, there could be competitive advantage here. Obviously, his dad went back to Clemson, and but it confuses everybody here, the timing of all this, because Virginia's moved on. They've acquired other quarterbacks, and maybe he comes back. But it's at some point your time is up.
I just think, I mean, he was ranked 1 above Jalen Suggs, right? Who's now, I think, second contract in the NBA, about to get a second contract in the NBA for quarterbacks coming out of high school. And it's just, to me, I mean, I get he only threw 5 passes. He was a third stringer the first 3 years. Why not redshirt one of those years? Why not redshirt your first year? You're a third stringer at Oklahoma. You're not playing.
Yeah, he basically did. I mean, if I were making his case, I would say you basically did redshirt if you threw 5 passes for the season. But he appeared in 5 games. So did he take 5 knees, or, went out and took a knee at some point with Oklahoma's, blowing somebody out? Kyle McCord here, we know that story that, late in the year he shows up in a blowout game for Ohio State. That's a bummer, but it's the way it goes. I mean, I just, maybe they can bring some common sense to it. I think probably they'll eventually just go to everybody gets 5 years, no questions asked, no more, no less, and move on.
Yeah, and then secondly, I wanted to bring up, so Brendan Sorsby got out of his contract at Cincy. It was a 2-year deal. He's leaving after 1 year, go to Texas Tech. They're now suing him $1 million for a break in the contract. Ultimately, with the whole Darian Mensa situation that went down, right, where they offered him a house and money, and I think his family members a house and all that. If a team can just buy a dude out, every deal's a 1-year deal. There's really no point in signing anybody to a 2 or 3 year deal until at least we have like a union or something put in place.
Well, it's wild, and it's because it's perceived to be such a terrible look that a university or an athletics department would be suing a college kid. And, well, they're just college kids. Okay, well, they're over here. You could say, well, they're pros, and they entered into this agreement, and they're adults, and they, so that's what happens. At the end of the day, the universities are put in a tough spot because they look bad by trying to claw back money from a student athlete that has the right to move on and go be a student athlete and matriculate at another school. The places with deeper pockets are always going to shrug off, oh, so what? So we'll buy you out for $1 million to come here to Lubbock and play for $2 or $3 million or whatever it's going to be. for him there. It's just the way it is. But yeah, the schools are in a tough spot until there's some backing or enforcement for that.
Yeah. You want to?
No.
Are you gonna go with it? No, you're not.
No, I was looking for a kicker.
You're not gonna go with your original kicker.
Oh no, the Matt Waldron. Yeah, no, the Padres had a pitcher that's out. I don't mind the injury. I would not like it all over national news that I was out for an indefinite amount of time because I had hemorrhoids.
Why does that have to be stipulated?
It says infection in the rear end. That's what they put out. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he was like,
he might want to.
He was like, yeah, that I'd rather.
He might want to take the PR person, or it's too late now. But you might want, if that was the case, like the PR person, hey, I'm going to take you to dinner, but let's not publicize this as what it really is. Nobody needs to know.
Lower body injury. I tend to think that the other players probably leaked it.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
They're probably joking around in the locker room.
George
Someone
Brett
overheard
had
it.
that going against him back in the day.
Yeah.
Sounds brutal.
Not ideal.
This probably wouldn't go well with it either. National Chili Day today, guys.
Okay, I like that.
Are you a chili fan? You introduced me to Skyline Chili.
Terrible.
Yeah, not a fan.
That's an acquired taste. I do like to duck in on the local delicacy when we go places, but I'm not really in a hurry to have any more Skyline chili.
Yeah, I made Jordan, our old producer, eat a.
It's not really. It's not chili in the sense that
it's brown and it tastes cinnamony and it's on spaghetti.
It does not look appetizing.
They do a whole different deal out there in Cincinnati. I thought you ought to get Steve going. Ask Steve about it, because then the way they serve it is 3-way and 5-way and right up your alley. So why don't you ask him about it next week? I do my little chili recommendation. It's not really a secret. Get online. My man Matt from Meat Church. You want the Meat Church chili seasoning? Thank me later.
Meat Church?
Meat Church.
So that I call my bedroom on occasion.
You wish.
One other thing on National Day, like you bring that up, like best place to go. You and I go to get chicken and waffles when we're in Durham all the time. Yeah, Dames. Slowest service ever in a restaurant?
Because it's consistent. It's consistently like, it's not even I wonder if their reviews say it's slow service. Probably not, because it's just expected. It's kind of part of their brand. I mean, there is the lack of urgency in that place is so pronounced that it's very apparent that they have no concern whatsoever about
food is so good too,
turning over their tables. Because most restaurants, if you have business, think about like even a Dinosaur. Dinosaur has plenty of business. They're trying to turn over the table. They don't want you sitting there forever. They want somebody else on that seat. And the food's already been made because it's barbecue. It's been sitting, it's been on low and slow throughout the day. So it doesn't take that long to get your food there. They want to keep it moving. There's a lot. I'm not going to give free advertising, but there's a lot of places that are like that.
Yeah.
Dames is the opposite of that. They just assume you
be there all day.
Well, they don't encourage it, because it just goes without saying. They're not going to be in a hurry to take your order. They're not in a hurry to make their order. They don't staff enough to take care of a full room. So it's quite the experience. But you're going to have to block out some time.
This now makes me want to ask Steve where he sits on the chicken and waffles, because he likes waffles. He likes maple syrup.
I don't think
the fried chicken is.
You guys are going to have to make a special show so you don't gum up all your other shows with his stupid food takes. You could do that would be a Taste of Syracuse kind of thing. The Steve booth. Will he eat it or won't he eat it?
Fried chicken is very seasoned there too, so it'd probably be a little off-putting to him.
Chicken and waffles is one of the best foods out there. I genuinely think
it's two foods put together.
Yeah, but that's
make one dish. Yeah.
It's so good. You get different types.
They changed the menu a little bit. Instead of having all these pre-made choices, it's kind of a build of chicken and waffles kind of thing.
Specific different butters, different sauces.
Schmears, they call them.
Yeah. Oh, so good. All right. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. We'll wrap this thing up, and we'll go from there. Hopefully home.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
All right. It's ESPN Radio Syracuse. You can from QSportsTalk.com. Oh. Funkin' Waffles is still open. I gotta walk over there. I gotta start eating downtown now that I live downtown.
Yeah, you live right above it, don't you?
Pasta's in York.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, your GPS is pretty fantastic. First time I ever heard that.
Who's at Funk and Waffles tonight? Boss Sandwich. I'll come meet you. We'll go Big Shrimp.
I haven't been there in a long time. That's a good spot.
They're Thanksgiving
when they were up on
waffle.
campus, yeah.
IPA is Matt's favorite beer.
I'm a big. I know this is going to sound like I'm a company honk right across the bottom of the screen. You're just not going to go wrong with a refreshing blue light. That's my go-to.
I like darker beers. I like Guinness, Killian's, that type of stuff. Yingling.
I'll drink.
I don't know who Big Shrimp is.
Big Shrimp's gonna be at Funkin' Waffles tonight.
I've heard of Real Big Fish.
Are you gonna take a wrestling move tomorrow? Reportedly, Moose from TNA is gonna be in studio tomorrow.
Who's Moose?
He's a former TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
Why is he here?
Because TNA's coming here August 14th and 15th.
Does he have ties to this here?
He went to Syracuse. What's his name?
Oh, Quinn Ochanaka?
There you go. Yeah. Played here and everything. We had him on Gomez this morning, but he's going to be in here tomorrow. You going to...
To do our show?
Yeah.
Why am I just learning about this?
I don't know. So, you going to take a... His finisher is a spear, but he does a front flip while doing the spear.
I don't think we got enough room in here.
We'll do it on the hall.
I hate to break down the fourth wall. That when I got put in the sharpshooter, I couldn't even feel it. It was like a yoga move. It didn't even hurt.
They're still, I don't know how they...
Nah. So Syracuse has two former football players wrestling now, Josh Black.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Odyssey Jones, I know, went to Syracuse. I think he played, but yeah. Technically, he's a WWE superstar because TNA is under WWE now.
Trill Williams also? Didn't know that.
I mean, if you're... if you're athletic and have a personality, it's working for a living.
I have neither of those things.
No.
That's what he said.
You could be the manager. You're sniffling.
Yeah.
You could be Paul Bearer. What was the other one?
Bobby Heenan.
Slick, Bobby Heenan. Brett the Hitman. Or, Jimmy the Mouth of the South.
Yeah. Paul Heyman.
None of the guys that are up for it are going to come on our show, guys. I don't think that's a good look.
What are they asking for?
To get the people that...
Oh, they want the future coach.
Like Hop or...
Yeah, potential.
Yeah. Why would you think people would do that?
I don't know.
I'll let you vent a little bit on the Mike Waters thing. And then
Oh, geez, yeah.
Why do you guys keep saying Mythic Hook today? I made one mistake on reading a name. You guys are holding it. I called Mythic Hook Mythic guy.
Sean Connery. This the end of the show?
Yeah.
Wrapping things up with Because I Love You by Stevie B. This is the song that I had blasting on Bluetooth when I was returning a rental car, and the lady was like, "You okay, buddy? You okay, buddy?" Do you remember this one?
No, there's got to be a hook to it somewhere coming up.
This is definitely a slow skate.
Just to let you know exactly the way I feel.
This is a
As
slow.
has been said before, slow skates don't make great bump back music.
Sometimes you just got to go with it, man. You got to.
Okay, here we go. You were crying in an intersection?
Yeah, it's 27 degrees, a wonderful time to cuddle your lover.
DJ Paulie Smooth.
Yeah. All right, Matt, you wanted to vent on a little thing where
the time has
Mike
passed.
Waters.
It's there's water under the bridge. We've gotten a bunch of other things, so I've lost my steam on it. But the idea that Mike Waters is to be blamed or make something of his remark when he was interviewed. This is not this week, but last week he's interviewed and he had some expression something to the extent of, whoever the coach is, or if Adrien Autry returns, whatever, is how he said it, or I'd be fine, or
Yeah, I'd be fine with it.
yeah. His job is not to determine who the coach is. His job is to cover the program, which means he can evaluate the coach, he can report on their background, he can tell the stories about it. He's not invested in it in the way that fans are. And for him to take, a lot of the reaction was, well, anybody to think that he can be back and it's fine is crazy. It's just different. People consume the product and are involved from different perspectives here. I think we all can kind of work on that. And to me, we didn't really get to a lot of the would-be AD type stuff. The challenge of the next athletic director is going to be to come in and align. The best programs have alignment, okay? Let's step aside from Syracuse for a minute. Whoever your favorite pro sports team is, or we talk, there's so much NFL chatter. If your team is aligned with the owner, the general manager, the coach, the quarterback, everybody's on the same page of who you are and what you're trying to do, that's where you're in position to be successful. If you are aligned, president, athletic director, football coach, basketball coach, field hockey coach, lacrosse coach, volleyball coach, that's hard to do. But if you're aligned and everybody understands who we are, what we're in it for, how it works, priorities, that it's a really challenging thing. And the places that are going to be the most successful do the best job of doing that. I think and again, so we're exposed, obviously, to a lot of this talk radio and social media chatter. Those aren't the people that are in the rooms making the decisions here. And the feedback there is some of the equation. It's not the entire equation. But I think there's this perception of misalignment. For instance, if you say, if they hire X, I'm not supporting the program anymore, that's a problem. So there's got to be some bringing of everybody back into the fold. Make it worth their while to come to the games. Put on the best product you can, both on the field and from an entertainment perspective. And there's a lot of things that can be looked at there. And that's why it takes, people that bring a lot to the table in terms of their expertise and connections and the staff they can put together and the way they can motivate people and get everything, again, just aligned, put it in order and get people motivated to do the best they can and create the best environment they can.
Ready to vote on the Artist of the Day tomorrow? Big responsibility.
Sure.
Janis Joplin, The Who, Whitney Houston, Motley Crue, TLC, OMD. OMD, TLC, Motley Crue, Whitney Houston, The Who, Janis Joplin.
Could go with any of those, Paulie. I think The Who would be my pick.
I'm going to go Whitney Houston.
All right. I am going to go TLC. We'll leave it up to the chat and Twitch under Gen B. Next one goes. So either The Who, Whitney Houston wins.
Yeah, that's you're not going to go around that.
Jen combined both and spelled Houston.
The Houston.
Yes. All right.
All right, we survived it.
We did anything? Tonight you want to Coach Autry show?
Yeah, I'll do Wildcat Sports Pub. Only a couple shows left this season. Donnie Freeman, this will be the last. My understanding, he's out for the February shows, so this will be the last one that we expect him to be there. But come on out, get a bite to eat. We'll watch the women's game, I think. We'll be on the tube out there. They're on the road tonight at Notre Dame, and we'll talk Orange basketball with Adrien Autry.
All right. I have nothing going on. I'll be out there too, signing autographs. If you need me. I'm very
much smaller line.
I'm very accessible.
You can bring your radio microphones out there for Paulie to.
Yeah.
I'll sign whatever you got. Pictures of me from 8th grade.
It's your neighborhood, so there's a lot of your folks out there.
Yeah, I grew up out that way. It was funny. I was just standing there.
Pizza boxes.
This guy was staring at me, and then I looked at him, and I was staring back at him. Like, why are you staring at me? And it was a kid I went to high school with that I haven't seen probably since high school. And I was like, oh, how you been? But yeah, Donnie Freeman will be there. You can ask him questions, too. He'll answer questions. You can give him tips on how to rebound, box out. You can come up and ask Coach Autry why.
Can we sneak in this last second comment here on the show? I'd be in favor of throwing Paulie off the show in favor of Matt.
Okay, yeah, that's
I don't know if Matt's in favor of that, to be honest with you.
You could ask Coach Autry why he plays his center at the center position. Why?
Right. That's a hot topic.
Yes.
That was a. Why isn't he playing? Why is William Kyle not playing the 4?
Yes, that has been asked.
All right, we'll wrap it up. I'm out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I don't even know who's doing the show with me tomorrow. It just might be me. We'll figure it out. It could be the complete opposite of today. You're just going to get all me tomorrow on ESPN Radio Syracuse. Utica Roma, QSportsTalk.com.